All right, Mrs. Lomax is a happy customer. Take my hat off. Do this right quick. You know what time it is. Resume. Y'all want to talk to 50sGANG. Let's get her a call. Her funky ass. What is it doing?
Calling checked empty phone. Please hold while I try to connect you. You stab him, we grab him. Robinson Funeral Home.
That was a good one.
You like that? You
That
like
was nice.
My baby.
I couldn't have thought of it myself. I said, wait till I tell LaShawn that Uncle Otis, he good for saying, I was like, LaShawn, my Uncle Otis is good for saying the following. You ready?
What happened, babe? I'm sorry, what is that? Uncle Otis said what?
He's good for saying with your funky ass. He one of those too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he picked up.
Yeah. You'll say that shit too. Just want to let you know since you invited him.
What? Wait a minute. I didn't go behind your back and do anything.
You
what are you
all
talking
behind
about?
my back, put a gun to my head and
I
everything.
did not go behind your back. Don't say stuff like that. I don't do things like that.
So she don't even know he another funky ass.
He said you didn't invite. Your uncles are talking about how you didn't invite them. Like all the aunties got invitations. On Doris, on Lee, on Marjorie,
That's
all
right.
the aunts got invitations, but
That's
none
right.
of the uncles did.
Because none of
And
my
now
aunts
word is
did me
spreading.
wrong.
The word is spreading, babe.
I know.
You shouldn't have
We
done
didn't
that.
even
You
need no
shouldn't have done
invitations. I told you they didn't. They don't email, they send messenger, all that shit. You could have saved you some money. But had
No,
Fanny
I
Bell
had to
contact
do
your
mine,
family,
but-
she would have contacted the whole family. She would have been all in New York.
My folks needed invites. You know, it is a certain decorum.
See, you can send up smoke
you know,
signals
deliver
on my
when
family.
you
You
know.
send up a smoke signal,
When you're planning
Fanny Bell get it.
Mm.
Ah, look at that smoke signal. They getting married.
I'm just, now I'm just worried. That's all.
What about what?
Because we don't.
What about what?
I'm worried about the food. We got the food for a certain amount of people from the invites and our guest list that we had on there. And being that you did not put any of your uncles on this guest list, how do we even know
It's only
that
going
we're
to be
have
3
enough?
of them. Uncle Lo ain't showing. Uncle Walter dead. That's Uncle Johnny, Uncle Lo.
I need a head count.
Uncle
We're gonna have to
Johnny,
get a head count, right?
Uncle Johnny, Uncle Otis, and Uncle Dan.
And what about Uncle Willie?
You know, I don't know, man. He might. Go ahead and add him with a question mark. Because, you know, he can barely walk.
Right, but he might walk to his nephew's wedding.
Okay, well, add him there. We'll make sure they be first in line and get a plate. That's what we're gonna do. How about that?
I already have people serving.
Oldest
so.
first. Make sure Fanny Bell get a plate, Uncle Willie get a plate, Uncle Dan get a plate, and then the rest of them fight for it. Because 7 o'clock, we turn that bitch out. Fuck.
Okay, I'm just a lot going through my head right now. What's going on with you? How's everything going? How's your day going?
I'm going, this bitch made me wait till this late to come out here, so I charged her extra $20 for my inconvenience. She paid it. Stupid ass. said,
Of
I
course.
could have been out here early this morning. I didn't get out to 12 o'clock. Bitch, I could be home at 12 o'clock. Now you gonna make me add.
And what's that aunt? What's the aunt that said I don't look like her mama?
Aunt May Eva, she coming.
May.
Yeah, mama done hooked up. Yep, at her. So
Okay.
she can give you her comments. You don't look like my mama.
Is May Ava?
M-A-E-V-A.
I know how to say it. I spell it. May Ava. So everybody said I look like her mother.
Yeah.
Except her. Except her. Okay.
Everybody except her. Oh, yes.
Okay, Mama Fanny Bear.
Let's see what has been delivered. Got a heating element. Where the motor at? I thought the motor was in the inbox. Okay, the motor is there and the heating element is in the yard. We had the delivery.
I don't know about your grandsons. I don't think their parents are gonna let them out of school because that's unless they're gonna come, for the weekend. So they might not. Jaden might not be able to ride with us because we're leaving Thursday morning. That's a school day, so you might want to look into that.
No, I might not. Let's see, what is his name? Anthony Christian. Okay, I gotta call Anthony. I gotta go to Fayetteville tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the motor is at the front yard, and on the porch.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah. Gotta call him. First, I gotta make sure it's at the front yard before I open my mouth. I should be home at 3 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to Mama's to drop off her clothes because
You got that red ball to give her?
Yeah. Yeah, I picked up the red ball.
Did you want me to make you a meatball sandwich?
No.
Did you want me to? Get you there.
What's James' wife's name?
James Leiter?
James' wife, her wife's name. So James' wife's name?
You know what? I didn't pick it up.
What?
Did you?
Really? No.
Did he introduce us?
Yeah.
But shit, man. Just call her Mrs. Leiter.
I just put +1.
Just put Miss Leiter. Mr. and Mrs. James Leiter.
Lytle, spell it.
Lytle. Mr. and Mrs. James Leiter.
Got it.
Yeah, headed towards the airport now.
And remember Lisa's friend's name? What was it again?
Tracy?
No. And you told me don't send them one, they're gonna be there. What was her name? Was it Herman and somebody? Audrey and Herman? Is that her husband's name?
I guess so.
Baby, they was on a cruise with us. How you don't remember?
Audrey and them wasn't hanging with us, were they?
I mean, but they was with us.
I don't remember seeing
We was
them.
all on the same cruise. They wasn't on a cruise with us?
No.
Who was that couple that was on a cruise with us, Lisa's friend?
Lisa's friend. On the cruise with
Lisa's friend, remember? It was Lisa and Harvey and a couple. And her and Lisa go all places together.
I guess it was Herman. I don't know. We not me and Audrey. Only girls that Lisa dealt with that I know of was Valora and Tracy. Audrey, I mean, she live in Georgia. Okay.
Right.
I'm not close to her. I was close to Tracy and Valora. The ones you saw in the pictures in the concert.
Yeah, that's Audrey and Herman. I got it right here. They in Cohuta. Is that Cohuta, Georgia? Cohuta, Cohutta.
Yep. Never heard of it.
I mean, we sent them a save the date, but we just didn't send them an invitation. Guess I gotta count Miss Carol. She's the lady that's gonna be with Mama.
Did you get that picture I texted you?
What picture? Of the picture I'm looking at. I went all the way back up into your Texas.
And text.
And
there's a picture in your text.
And the picture I'm looking at, you know, what I said earlier. I had to, you know, keep my legs.
I sent you a picture.
From getting a picture where, babe? There's no picture here.
In your text.
I'm looking at my text right now.
You're not looking at the picture now,
I am looking at the picture.
What it look like?
There's a picture of a lady standing next to a van, and then it has that ramp. And
okay,
then,
you don't have a picture after that?
I see a rental invoice for the van
okay.
itself.
Do you have a picture? Let me go to your... I know you got that damn picture.
I see a picture. I see a picture of a lady mopping and
okay,
cleaning.
then I sent you a link to the Nassau crew, right?
To who?
You got it at 6:21 p.m. YouTube.
And then there's a YouTube. Oh, I didn't open that.
Okay, then you got one at 7:26 in the morning. That one, the one you got at 7:26.
The one, hold on, let me see this one that you sent.
Now go to the one for 7:26.
You told me to go here.
Forget that. That happened yesterday. That happened yesterday. You didn't want to watch it.
This is NASA retrieving the people.
Yeah, go to the next one. I'm talking about 7:26. That was yesterday.
It was live in the
I said go to 7:26 a.m.
You can see the 7.
Let me see. Oh, it was 7:41 p.m. Go to that one yesterday.
I said, call me when you get up.
No. Go to 7:41 p.m.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll send it again. Let me know when you get it. I'm gonna keep sending it until you say you got it. How about that? Do you see it now, or do you need me to send it again?
Oh wait, hold on. I got a patient that I gotta take care of.
Why are you trying to get off the phone? I just sent it to you again. You want me to send it again?
I got a patient. Yeah.
You want me to send it again?
I'll call you right back.
You want me to send it again?
I'll call you right back. I got a patient. I gotta go.
She threw away my Trump hat, y'all. That's why I'm on her. Focus.
From doctors to business owners to, and this Judge Boasberg, is a Democrat activist. He was appointed by Barack Obama. His wife has donated more than $10,000 to Democrats. and he has consistently shown his disdain for this president and his policies, and it's unacceptable.
I wanted to go about the idea of these people are all foreign terrorists, but Judge Boasberg was originally appointed by George W. Bush and then elevated by Barack Obama. I just feel like I should clear that up.
Well, let me just say something to that effect.
Who the hell are you?
67% of all of the injunctions in this century have come against which president? Donald J. Trump. Let me say that again. 60% of the injunctions by partisan activists in the judicial branch have come against President Donald Trump, and 92% of those have been from Democrat-appointed judges. This is a clear, concerted effort by leftists who don't like this president and are trying to impose or slow down his agenda.
So, given that, do you think it's a good use of Congress's time and the president's political capital to try to impeach and remove a federal judge, which would take 67 votes you're unlikely to get in the Senate?
Well, look, the president has made it clear that he believes this judge in this case should be impeached, and he has also made it clear that he has great respect for the Chief Justice John Roberts, and it's incumbent upon the Supreme Court to rein in these activist judges. These partisan activists are undermining the judicial branch by doing so. We have co-equal branches of government for a reason, and the president feels very strongly about that. Jackie.
What options does the president have to, he said he's going to follow court orders, and he wouldn't defy a court order, but he's raised these concerns about these judges acting in such a partisan way. What option does he have to ensure that his agenda continues to move forward while this is ongoing and the judges appear to be trying to just block and delay and impede?
Well, you're right. They are trying to block, delay, and impede. This is lawfare. The president is no stranger to it. He faced it in his campaign, and this is a continuation of the lawfare that President Trump faced as a candidate, and he's now unfortunately facing as a president. Clearly, these partisan activists in the judicial branch didn't get the memo on November 5th when the American people overwhelmingly re-elected this president to continue with mass deportations. So White House counsel and the Department of Justice are working on this. They're appealing these cases, and we will continue to use the full weight of the White House counsel's office and the president's team of lawyers to fight this in court, because we know we will win, even if we have to go all the way to the Supreme Court.
Andy McCarthy said in an interview with Hugh Hewitt, he certainly agrees with what the president is trying to do with the Alien Enemies Act, but he's not sure that the law is completely on his side. He cites some previous Supreme Court rulings dealing with enemy combatants in wartime, says that even they have a challenge or a right to challenge their detention in court. He raised concern also that while TDA has been designated as a terrorist organization, these individuals hadn't been prosecuted for terrorism. So my question is, will the president ask Congress potentially to declare war on these cartels for the invasion that he's talked about so that he's on stronger legal footing?
Well, we absolutely disagree with the legal opinion of the individual that you mentioned. We would not have moved forward with this if we didn't believe the president. This was within the president's executive authority to continue with this mass deportation effort under the authority provided to him under the Alien Enemies Act. And when you read the act, as I did last time at the podium, a predatory incursion is absolutely what has happened with Tren de Aragua. They have been sent here by the hostile Maduro regime in Venezuela, and the president, immediately upon taking office, designated TDA as a foreign terrorist organization. And under this act, it is within the president's authority to deport these terrorists. And anybody trying to defend these terrorists who have now been sent off of American soil should talk to the families of the individuals who these heinous monsters have killed and have raped. If you talk to those families, they are so heartened by the president's decision to take tough action and to use his executive authority, something that no other president has been willing to do, because President Trump does what he says he's going to do, and he is deporting these foreign terrorists from American soil to secure our homeland, and he's within his rights to do that. Jennifer.
Tesla, there's a website that's trying to dox Tesla owners across the country and saying they're only going to take down personal information when people show that they've sold their cars. What's the administration going to do about that?
I haven't seen that website, but we certainly think it's despicable, the violence that has taken place against Tesla, the company, its employees, and also just Americans who have chosen to drive an electric vehicle. Many of them are Democrats, by the way. Democrats were big supporters of Tesla and of electric vehicles until Elon Musk decided to vote for Donald Trump. So we would like Democrats to also come out and condemn this heinous violence that we have seen, and I believe the Attorney General has said she's investigating these incidents as acts of domestic terrorism. Jennifer.
Ukraine. Can you say say, is the White House going to pause foreign military aid or intelligence sharing with Ukraine as Russia says it's pushing for? And then I have a follow-up on the Federal Trade Commission.
Sure. When it comes to Ukraine, I do have a statement for you from the National Security Advisor and also the Secretary of State. First, I'd like to reiterate what the President said earlier following his call with President Zelensky this morning. He said he just completed a very good telephone call with President Zelensky. It lasted approximately 1 hour. Much of the discussion was based on the call made yesterday with President Putin in order to align both Russia and Ukraine in terms of their requests and needs. We are very much on track, and I will ask Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Mike Waltz to give an accurate description of the points discussed. That statement will be put out shortly. While I have that statement for you right here, bear with me as I read it. Today, President Trump and Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky had a fantastic phone conversation. President Zelensky thanked President Trump for a productive start for the work of the Ukrainian and American teams in Jeddah on March 11th. The meeting of the senior officials from both nations significantly helped in moving toward ending the war. President Zelensky thanked President Trump for the support of the United States, especially the Javelin missiles that President Trump was first to provide and his efforts towards peace. The leaders agreed Ukraine and America will continue working together to bring about a real end to the war, and that lasting peace under President Trump's leadership can be achieved. President Trump fully briefed President Zelensky on his conversation with Putin and the key issues discussed. They reviewed the situation in Kursk and agreed to share information closely between their defense staffs as the battlefield situation evolved. President Zelensky asked for additional air defense systems to protect his civilians, particularly Patriot missile systems, and President Trump agreed to work with him to find what was available, particularly in Europe. The two leaders also agreed on a partial ceasefire against energy. Technical teams will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to discuss broadening the ceasefire to the Black Sea on the way to a full ceasefire. They agreed this could be the first step toward the full end of the war and ensuring security. President Zelensky was grateful for the president's leadership in this effort and reiterated his willingness to adopt a full ceasefire. President Trump also discussed Ukraine's electrical supply and nuclear power plants. He said that the United States could be very helpful in running those plants with its electricity and utility expertise. American ownership of those plants would be the best protection for that infrastructure and support for Ukrainian energy infrastructure. President Zelensky also thanked President Trump for continuing to push humanitarian concerns, including the exchange of prisoners of war. He noted they had just had a successful exchange and thanked the president for his leadership on that. President Trump also asked President Zelensky about the children who had gone missing from Ukraine during the war, including the ones that had been abducted, and President Trump promised to work closely with both parties to help make sure those children were returned home. They agreed all parties must continue the effort to make a ceasefire work. The presidents noted the positive work of their advisors and representatives, especially Secretary Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Special Envoy Kellogg, and others. The presidents instructed their teams to move ahead with the technical issues related to implementing and broadening the partial ceasefire. The presidents instructed their advisors and representatives to carry out this work as quickly as possible. The presidents emphasized that in further meetings, the teams can agree on all necessary aspects of advancing toward lasting peace and security. That is a lengthy statement that was just given to me, so thanks for bearing with me. Our office will, of course, provide this after. And as you know, as I just pointed out in the statement, the president's team of negotiators and national security experts will be heading to Saudi again later this week to continue working on and ironing out the details. But I would just like to emphasize we have never been this close to peace, and it's only because of President Trump that we are here. I think a couple of years ago, as you all reported on the war, it was incomprehensible to have a partial ceasefire in this conflict. And today that is true because of the leadership of this president.
So they agreed to closely share information between their defense staffs. Does that mean all intelligence sharing will continue? So the White House is rejecting Russia's request?
Intelligence sharing in terms of defense for Ukraine will continue to be shared. Mary.
Thanks, Bill. I have two questions. One on the United States Institute of Peace and then on the Supreme Court, if that's okay.
Sure.
So on the United States Institute of Peace, this is a little bit wild. I understand the old president refused to leave after he was removed from his position. He barricaded himself in his offices, had to be escorted out by police, left the building without Wi-Fi, telephones, elevators, and more, and is now telling media that Doge broke in and illegally removed him. So can you comment on this sequence of events and specify, did Doge illegally enter?
I'm really glad you brought this up, Mary. We were made aware of this story by individuals at Doge, at Elon Musk's team, and also at the State Department, who were unable to access this building. And it became very clear that there was a concerted effort amongst the rogue bureaucrats at the United States Institute of Peace to actually physically barricade themselves essentially inside of the building to prevent political appointees of this administration who work at the direction of the President of the United States to get into the building. There was a piece in the Daily Caller, thank you for sharing the truth on this, about what happened. Staff contacted the MPD in an attempt to prevent Doge personnel from entering. They barricaded the doors. They also disabled telephone lines, internet connections, and other IT infrastructure within the building. They distributed flyers internally, encouraging each other to basically prevent these individuals from accessing the building. I use this to say this is what Doge and this administration is facing. It's a resistance from bureaucrats who don't want to see change in this city. President Trump was elected on an overwhelming mandate to seek change and implement change, and this is unacceptable behavior.
Thank you. Just really quickly, Mr. Supreme Court. I know it's been almost 3 years now since the leak of the draft jobs opinion to Politico, actually. A leak which sparked protesting outside the homes of the justices and even brought on one attempted assassination attempt. I know Justice Alito said that it made the justices targets for assassination, but yet the Supreme Court has not tracked down any leaker. Does the White House have interest in finding out who that leaker was, and can you comment on that at all?
I know generally speaking the president has an interest in finding leakers, and he believes it's unacceptable, and it's the position of this administration. You've seen the Secretary of Homeland Security has taken tough action at her agency. Leaking is unacceptable to this president and to the leaders across the board in this cabinet, especially when it puts people in harm's way. Sure.
A mom whose daughter was forced to change in the locker room with a biological male at school filed a complaint with the DOJ. How will the Trump DOJ deal with violations of President Trump's orders protecting women and girls like this?
I would defer you to the Department of Justice on that specific case, but the president has made it incredibly clear that it is the policy of this administration that there are only two genders, male and female, only two sexes rather, male and female, and that we are not going to tolerate such behavior by men pretending to be women. The president will continue to strongly stand for the rights of women and girls, not just in sports and on athletic fields, but also in private spaces like locker rooms and bathrooms. Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. Question. Can you explain the president's thinking in his decision to fire the two Democratic commissioners, especially given that Mark Nutter is on track to be confirmed next week and there would be a Republican majority? My biggest question is why now?
Sure. Because the time was right to let these people go, and the president absolutely has the authority to do it, and they were given ample notice in a letter that I believe your outlet reported on, so it pretty much explains exactly why this administration chose to let those individuals go.
Is the ultimate goal to get this to the Supreme Court to try to overturn the 1935 precedent?
The goal was to let these individuals go. If we have to fight it all the way to the Supreme Court, we certainly will. Rachel.
Back to the deportation flights to El Salvador. Can the administration provide any more details on how authorities determined that each of those men were in fact members of a gang? And if the White House can publish images, photos, videos of those men, why can't the administration just release basic information like their identities and names?
We are not going to reveal operational details about a counterterrorism operation, but what I can assure you, as I said on Monday, we have the highest degree of confidence in our ICE agents and our Customs and Border Patrol agents who have committed their lives to targeting illegal criminals in our country, particularly foreign terrorists, and they had great evidence and indication. They have the highest degree of professionalism, and they were 100% confident in the individuals that were sent home on these flights and in the president's executive authority to do that.
Follow up, I know in the last briefing you cited privacy concerns as a reason why the administration may not be able to reveal the identities. What exactly are the privacy rights of immigrants who were deported that the administration says were dangerous enough to be sent out?
They're illegal.
And sit in a prison?
Again, as I just said, we're not going to reveal the operational details of a counterterrorism operation for quite obvious reasons. We're trying to combat terrorism here in the United States of America. Jeff.
could ask something else about the phone call yesterday. There was a couple different readouts from the Kremlin and the U.S. on a couple different points. One was energy and infrastructure. The U.S. statement said energy and infrastructure. The Kremlin said energy infrastructure. What is your understanding of what the actual substance of that disagreement was? And then one other question on that.
I would defer you to the readout that was provided by the White House. That's our understanding, and that's the truth.
And if I could ask a question about the judge as well. How does a president define a bad judge? Is it just someone who disagrees with him? And is that a dangerous precedent in this case, because this is a temporary ruling from Judge Boasberg that could ultimately rule in your favor? Is he setting up a standard here for calling for the impeachment of a judge who may ultimately rule on your side?
No, it has nothing to do with disagreeing with the president on policy. It's with disagreeing with the Constitution and the law. And it's trying to usurp the authority of the executive branch of this country. It's having baseless reasoning for these injunctions. And it's a clear effort by these judges to slow roll this president's agenda. And if you just look at the injunctions that this president has faced, deporting foreign terrorists from our homeland, hiring and firing of executive branch employees, which when the president is the executive of the executive branch. You also see an injunction by a partisan activist judge when it comes to the Secretary of Defense trying to determine the readiness of our troops and the qualifications of our troops in our armed forces. Does a single district court judge really have more authority over the Commander-in-Chief and the Secretary of Defense to determine who should serve in our United States Armed Forces? Absolutely not. Anyone who has taken a basic civics lesson can understand that, and it's ridiculous lawfare that we are witnessing. And it's.
The president said he respects the Chief Justice here. Does he respect him specifically on this case and this opinion, or respects him overall? And has he spoken to any other Supreme Court justice?
The president respects Chief Justice Roberts overall. He just expressed that to me in the Oval Office. But it's also quite clear that the Supreme Court needs to rein in these judges who are acting as partisan activists, and they are undermining the judicial branch. And it's a dereliction of duty on their behalf. Deanna, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Caroline. On the call with Zelensky, did they discuss the minerals deal at all? Is that back on the table, and what do the Ukrainians have to do to get that back on the table? And then one on the Russia call as well.
Again, I just provided a very lengthy readout of the call that was provided by the Secretary of State and the National Security Advisor. And now we have moved beyond the economic minerals deal. We are at a place of peace. We're at a partial ceasefire, and we're moving towards a full ceasefire and a long-standing peace in this conflict. And that's great news for the American public.
Kremlin readout mentioned that Trump and Putin spoke about potential U.S.-Russia hockey games. And the Kremlin readout also said that Russia wanted the U.S. to stop U.S. intelligence and U.S. funding to Ukraine. The president has said that that conversation did not happen. Just wondering if you can get us any more clarity on that. And also, again, if it's energy infrastructure or if it's energy and infrastructure, because I think there is a big difference between that.
Again, as for the readouts of the call, I would defer you to ours. And when it comes to the topic of hockey, it did come up. However, we're more interested in securing a peace deal than scheduling hockey games right now. Sean.
Hey, about the deportation flight. So was it the president himself who directed the planes to stay in the air after the judge ordered them to turn back?
The president invoked the Alien Enemies Act with a proclamation, which then directed the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State to move forward with the plan of action. And as I said yesterday, all of the planes that were subject to the judge's written order took off before the order was submitted in court. I was asked and answered that question multiple times yesterday. Kate, go ahead.
Is the president still considering pressuring Russia with sanctions or tariffs to try to get a full ceasefire? And is there any kind of deadline or timeline that the White House has in mind for when that pressure might ramp up?
Again, the president had a nearly 2-hour-long call with President Putin yesterday. We provided a readout of that call, and we have his negotiating team heading to the Middle East this week to continue these discussions in regards to sanctions and any other details. I'm not going to give a readout of those from this podium.
And on TikTok, is Oracle the leading contender for a deal? And would the U.S. back a deal that keeps TikTok's algorithm and the underlying technology still in Chinese hands?
As President Trump does so well, we don't get ahead of ourselves. ourselves when we are in the midst of the art of the deal. So when the president and this team are ready to announce a deal on TikTok, which is a high priority for the president, we will make that known. I've seen that reporting, but I'm not going to comment on it just yet. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Press Secretary Levin. Some prominent Trump supporters have been making the case that Derek Chauvin deserves a pardon. They argue that he did not receive a fair trial. Joe Biden and other Democrats actually implied that he was guilty while the trial was going on. BLM rioters had these jurors under immense threat and pressure. Mainstream media, frankly, many news outlets here today are complicit here. They chose to ignore the autopsy report. They chose to ignore the full body camera footage. They decided to slander Derek Chauvin as a racist cop instead. Does the administration believe Derek Chauvin received a fair trial, and will they consider a pardon moving forward?
The president has been asked and answered this question. He said it's not something he's considering at this time. Philip.
Thank you. Two questions. First, just a follow-up on the readouts from those calls. When it comes to the discrepancies between the U.S. and Russian readout of that call between President Trump and Putin, is it the president's assessment that something is getting lost in translation, or does he believe that the Russians are trying to play games here?
Nope. The president believes in his team that put the readout out, and he also put his own out on Truth Social. We've been incredibly transparent about all of the president's calls with foreign leaders, and again, I would defer you to the readout.
And then following
Michael.
on
Thank you, Caroline. White House said yesterday that gas prices across the U.S. have fallen for the fourth straight week. 34 states now seeing gas under $3 a gallon. This limited ceasefire with Ukraine regarding oil refineries, energy, will that affect gas prices here in the U.S.?
Well, it's certainly the president's hope that gas prices will continue to fall, and he's working every single day to ensure that we do. As you just mentioned, there's been very encouraging data. Inflation is cooling and gas prices are falling. The president has established a National Energy Dominance Council, and it's ultimately the president's goal, and this administration is working hard on it every single day, to increase our energy production right here in the United States of America, to have a Trump energy boom like we saw in our first term, which will not only lead to lower fuel prices here at home, but also lessen the rate of inflation that was created by the previous administration.
One more on Tesla, Caroline. Tim Walz, Governor Walz, saying last night he frequently checks Tesla stock. In doing so, to quote, give me a little boost during the day. How should Americans view politicians who take pride in the downfall of an American car company?
I think that's quite sad, but I think Governor Walz unfortunately is living a sad existence after his devastating defeat on November 5th. Reagan, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. Across the country, Tesla cars are being lit on fire, dealerships are being shot up, Molotov cocktails are being used. There was a website posted yesterday that shared the addresses of private Tesla owners and reportedly had Kash Patel's information on it. AG Bondi has called this acts of domestic terrorism. Does the White House have any indication that this is some sort of coordinated movement or that it's being funded by some outside group? And do you know if the investigation by the DOJ is being investigated as incidents of organized terror?
I believe the Attorney General has made her comments clear on that. She is investigating these events as acts of domestic terrorism, and we fully condemn them. And as I said earlier to Jackie's question, we think it's despicable what is happening to not just this American company, but also their innocent employees. And again, innocent Americans who drive these vehicles. We condemn it wholeheartedly. Sure.
24,000 vacancies are in the process of being reinstated. What is your message to these workers, and can you assure them they won't be fired again as the administration directs agencies to do more layoffs?
Well, the administration is complying with the court's order. Again, as I have spoken about repeatedly, we think it's despicable that we have judges acting as judicial activists, partisan activists, trying to dictate who the president of the United States, the executive of the executive branch, can hire and fire. We have never seen anything like this. We are fighting this in court, and we will continue to fight it all the way to the Supreme Court if we have to. And as for federal employees, it's been the very common sense position of this president and the administration that bureaucrats here in Washington, D.C. need to show up to the office just like the rest of America. Middle-class Americans, from doctors to business owners to teachers to law enforcement officers, have to show up to their offices every single day. And the president has made it a clear priority that people in this city have to do the same. And we are also continue to be committed to reducing the scale of our workforce and to reducing the size of our federal bureaucracy here in Washington, D.C. to save taxpayers money. Annie, go ahead.
Thanks so much.
In the statement that you read, you referenced the president's interest in helping return Ukrainian parents to their families. There's an organization that provides intel and information about those children that their aid has been cut. It's a Yale University program that used foreign aid. And I'm curious if, as part of this new thinking with Ukraine, that aid might be unfrozen.
I have no updates about that or that specific program at this time. Karen.
Follow up on your answer to the question on the minerals deal. You said that the White House has moved beyond the minerals deal. What does that mean? Is that no longer on the table?
Nope. It means the minerals deal was that first set of framework that you all saw in that very public meeting with President Zelensky and President Trump in the Oval Office. We are now focused on a long-term peace agreement. As you know, on that deal or that meeting between President Zelensky and President Trump, the Ukrainian president at the time wasn't talking about a greater peace deal. We are now at that place where we are talking about that. So we've moved beyond just the economic minerals deal framework, and we're looking at a lasting ceasefire. Right now we're at a partial ceasefire, but again, the president is sending his highly skilled, intelligent, and experienced team to Saudi Arabia later this week to continue fighting for peace in this conflict. And I would just reiterate one more time, we have never been closer to peace than we are today. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you later.
Once again, the press never seems to surprise us. A room full of people, supposedly educated, and they don't talk about the things that the American people actually want to hear. It's pretty sad. Pretty sad and quite pathetic, I have to say. So, looking at my notes here, one of them came directly from one of the comments. Let me put that back up. I didn't hear anybody talking about she opened the press conference by talking about the astronauts coming back and how Elon Musk helped them and everything else, but they seem to completely ignore it. And I don't know where you stand, but Derek Chauvin being pardoned for the George Floyd thing, it's got to be number 950 on the list. I understand it might be high priority to him, but come on. You're walking in here and asking President Trump's press secretary about that? You're a moron. And then they keep wanting to have, how do you know these people are in gangs? Can you publish who their names are? I don't think they're understanding. You are standing up, you are supporting, you're advocating for gang members who are in the country illegally. Man, I'm telling you, they are doing the worst thing possible for the Democrat Party. This isn't good whatsoever. It's horrible that these are the questions. No wonder she just... she didn't even need notes. They're going to ask the same questions over and over again. Over and over again. Don't want to talk about anything positive. They run from anything positive. Hey, gas prices are down. Woo! I don't want to talk about that. Hey, egg price. Eggs. Anybody want to talk about eggs? Oh, no. Nobody wants to talk about eggs. JFK files. Nope, no one talk about that. What is it you want to talk about? Can we get the names of the gang members, please? Because how do you even know if they're gang members? You might be just taking out Hispanic people and sending them to El Salvador. The patience must just wear thin. They don't want to talk about what really needs to be talked about. These judges. Is there anything you guys want to talk about in regards to what people have been digging up? You know, his wife, his daughter, his wife's husband, all being involved in being funded by Soros and these NGOs? No, you don't want to talk about any of that? You don't want to talk about anything relating to what these people are doing. So it was funny. Well, not so funny, sad. But we're looking at something like this. Let me bring this up real quick here. So one of the judges decided that that Elon Musk, who didn't do it, but Elon Musk had no authority to fire anybody, and he also had no authority to pull the money back. Okay, so how about this? Breaking. One of the Doge guys, probably Big Balls, is now going to be moving into a leadership role at USAID following the federal judge's ruling forcing Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency to reinstate USAID's functionality. Checkmate. So, because he didn't work for USAID, they're saying you can't make any decisions about USAID. Oh, okay. Introduce you to CEO Big Balls here, who's now going to be running USAID. And as the new CEO, he's going to slash and cut. You can just see them short-circuiting. Because the judge's ruling told them why you did it. Well, okay, now we got somebody in there. Happy? Does it make sense now? Now we just appointed someone to be head of USAID. It make you happy? Sort of like saying, hey, you can't revoke all these credit cards from everybody. Oh, how about if I set the limit at $1 for every credit card? Oh. They're playing a fool's game at this point, and it just keeps getting worse. It's too funny. Look, you're gonna love this one. This popped up. Wow, you guys have heard the organization Radio Free Europe. Well, it's not that free. It's not really Europe. It's us. I mean, who was it? REM had a song, Radio Free Europe. It ain't free. It ain't Europe. Radio Free Europe, a propaganda news organization, is funded by the United States. I can stop there and go, what? Just filed a lawsuit against Kari Lake for terminating their funding. I've never seen anything like this. You can't stop paying us. Defendant Kari Lake purported to terminate RFE, Radio Free Europe, grant agreement on the basis of a March 14th executive order directing USAGM to eliminate all non-statutorily required activities and functions and declaring that funding for Radio Free Europe no longer effectuates our priorities. There is therefore no question USAGM has made a final decision not to disperse congressionally appropriated funds to RFE. The agency is doing nothing short of defying Congress. Their argument is that because the CR, the continuing resolution, was signed, all the money previously appropriated to them still belongs to them. And in other words, they're entitled to your money to run Radio Free Europe. Let that sink in. Radio Free Europe is no longer free, and it's not a European thing. It's us. Bet you didn't know that. Bet you didn't know a lot of this stuff we're finding out going, we're giving them money. Tell me, are we giving them money too? Yeah. We're the world's piggy bank. There would be no NATO. There would be none of these different countries. They're all sucking off us. Everybody, it seems, except for maybe Saudi Arabia, who doesn't need it. Everybody else, we're just doling out American money. We would be so wealthy as a country, but they're stealing all our money. All of it. I can't even take this stuff anymore with what they're doing. It's absolutely insane. It makes you want to cry, doesn't it? So here's the guy that they said, this dude here, George Moose, aptly named the president of the U.S. Institute of Peace, whatever the hell that is. The U.S. Institute of Peace locked himself, they heard this at the press conference, locked himself in the building after Doge fired him and ordered him to leave. The D.C. police eventually gained entry and removed him. These people genuinely believe they're entitled to be in government forever at our expense. And there's Mr. Moose. And one of the things that, as you're looking at this, you're a grown-ass man. You're an older grown-ass man. And you lock the doors up? You can't make me leave. Oh, no. Seriously, bro? What is wrong with these Democrats? I just don't get it. Can you imagine? Any of you who have ever been let go or fired? Hey, can you meet me downstairs? We're going to have a meeting real quick. Oh, just you. Not your staff, just you. This dude's like, no, I won't go. Hell no, I won't go. Don't make me leave. You can't fire me. Dude, you're way too old for that, man. You're way too old. Acting a fool. I'm never leaving. You gotta pay me forever. I don't do anything. I'm with the U.S. Institute of Peace. What in the hell is the U.S. Institute of Peace? Somebody want to find out? Because there's another little office here, little agency that's probably giving billions to, and this guy's in charge of it all. He goes to work every day. Nobody knows what the hell he does. It's insane. It's insane, and it's absolutely scary at this point what these people are doing. And, you know, Emerald Robinson, you know, she used to be with, what, Newsmax or one of those things. I forget. And she became like a Laura Loomer type person, kind of went off on her things. But she had something really smart to say here. The deep state is going to run another color revolution against Trump. It's already started. Did Trump learn all of his lessons from 2020? We're about to find out. So you're probably wondering, one, what's a color revolution? Number two, what are we about to find out? Well, a color revolution is essentially a fake coup that is operated by or effected by our CIA or deep state to remove, shackle, whatever, a government official in another country, Egypt, whatever we want to see happen. We do it. We call it a color revolution. We're going through that right now. I 100% believe her. I believe it. I've been saying civil war. You can call it a soft coup. You can call it an internal color revolution. Anything you want. We are indeed going through that right now. And did Trump learn all of his lessons from 2020? And the reason why I put that up there is everything that we've seen. And I think many of you understand this at this point. Excuse me. Many of you understand this. It doesn't look like President Trump has overlooked anything. You have to see whoever he's put in place, the Stephen Miller or whoever his brain trust is, it's obvious that they've been working on these things for years. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, boom, to boom, to boom, to boom. So, do you think for an instant that this man didn't know what these people were working on and he didn't foresee what is happening right now? See, that's a leap that few people want to accept. And that's something that you need to put credence in. Is that if I'm in a war room and I'm game planning all this stuff, you guys have seen it in football games. I told you, when you're seeing a coach walk around and he's got his headset and he's got that clipboard and he's looking at, he's not wiping his nose, but he's looking at all the different things, right? And it's a double-sided chart. He's looking at these things. And it says on 1st and 10, we're going to run this play if they have these people in the game. And if these people are in the game, it should work. But if these people are in the game, you should run this play. And if you've never seen a coach on the sidelines, you're going to see it, turn into a football game. And he's got the headset, the chart, it's like all kinds of colors and everything else. Oh, it's blue, so we got to go here. And I think we're seeing that right now. I think President Trump is pulling levers, pushing buttons, expecting a result to happen from that lever he pulls. And he says, when I pull this lever, A, B, or C, could potentially happen. So I need to have a response if A, B, or C happens. And each one of those is probably going to be a different response. Are we ready if C happens? Are we ready if B happens? Are we ready if A happens? And are we have some sort of contingency if D happens? Because you have to plan accordingly in terms of what the outcome could be. You know what you're going to do, but you're not done there. You also have to understand what the reaction be to what you do. Nobody ever goes into a game plan. You never, even into a court case, you don't go into it without knowing, well, if this happens, then I should do this. And be able to pivot quickly so you know you're prepared for this. In a long way, a winded way, what I just told you was Trump obviously had to know all of this stuff with the judges is going to happen. Had to have known it. Had to have been on his chart. Had to have been on the wall. When we do this, they're going to run to D.C. They're going to run to the district court. They're going to run to the district court because we know they've got all these snakes that they've put in there over the last 4 years, and they're going to get one of these 5 judges, and all these judges here are going to be completely whacked. They're going to be complete, utter loyalists to the Communist Party or the Marxism or whatever. You see, because everybody right now, every single one of you, could go on District Court of Washington, D.C. You can go right there, and it's going to list you all the judges who are on that platform. And then you can do the research on every single one of those judges. You see, the stuff that's coming out now, and they'll find out that Judge Bo Asperger's wife did this. Trump had to have known that a year ago. Trump had to have known and said, hey, this guy here, oh yeah, they're going to go here. They're going to go. He had to have known. I shouldn't be telling you anything that you can't assimilate and go, really, he would have had to have known that. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick here. And you'll know everything. Okay, so let's see here. This is the other court, but I can show you what I mean. Judges' bios, and this is for district. This is the Court of Appeals, not the lower court. But they're all listed right here, every single one of them. You can see who all these judges are right now before you even, go talk to them. That's the Court of Appeals. So let's see, which court does Bo Asperger? Where does he? He sits on. Hold on, wait, real quick here. I'm just looking it up. He's a U.S. District Court for District of Columbia. All right, so let's look that up and see if it says who the different judges are. Yep, right here. Okay, got them. These are the different judges for the district court. So it says Chief Judge. You click here, and it's Judge Boasberg. Oh, so it's public knowledge who these people are. Yes, you can go all the way through and find out where he went to school in 1964 and everything about him. And then you can just basically work backwards and see who he's donated to. And district judges, here's some more. And here there's Tanya Chutkin. You can see right there all the judges' names.
On the bias.
There's Amir Ali. This is one of the guys who went against Trump. My point is, if I could take 5 minutes, like I did just then, if I could take 5 minutes and look up all these judges, you don't think for an instant that Trump's team didn't have all this game played out? I mean, I'm not even in the White House, and I'm definitely not in the Oval Office, and I'm not in his war room, but I would venture to say, if I was in that war room, he would say, okay, your job is to make sure we know everything about the judges that they're going to run to. All right, Fred, Sue, I want to know everything about these judges. I want Elon to make sure he can track every donation they've ever made. I want one of the big balls guys to look into every single real estate transaction. I want to know if he pooped, I want to know what color it was and how bad it smelled. I need to know all that information. Got it, boss. So, we drop do something. He gets sued, and who's it? Oh, it's been assigned to XYZ judge. Boom, we got the file on him. We already knew what all he's about. You see how? Let me see. I hope I didn't lose you with that. But they run all over the country. Yeah, but every single one of these judges is known, especially the liberal ones. It's very simple to game plan. I don't even care if it's Bush appointed judges. You could, in literally hour, 90 minutes, have a dossier on every single judge at a district level in the entire country. And Trump had 4 years. Because right now, on my computer, just like I showed you, I could get so much preliminary information off of every single one of those judges. So take it a step further. Sorry, President Trump knows this. He understands who the judges are. Now is where you would also chart your response. So, long-winded way of saying, Trump had to know this was coming. He had to have known that these people were going to pop their heads up and try to shut him down. Had to. I would know if the linebacker who was playing against me, I would know whether or not he could cover a halfback coming out for a route, or if he can stop the run, and is he good? Do we need to double team him? Oh, you know everything. I mean, literally, you should see what it takes to put a playbook together to go against a specific team. And we're just talking sports. If you've ever seen, here's a good movie, he just died, Gene Hackman. Great idea. You remember Gene Hackman in the movie Runaway Jury? They rented an entire building where they could get, this was for one flipping case. They rented an entire building so that they could see who the jurors are, what this person, his vulnerability was, and they missed it with John Cusack because he was able to hide what his objective was. But you saw they had it all worked out. They knew specifically where they were going to go and how they were going to do it. So you don't think the President of the United States, who's been waiting 4 years, knew? Of course he did. Hold on one second. I got to do something with my nose here. So let me just do this. It really sucks having a cold and having to go on camera because it doesn't look good if you got to blow your nose and do stuff. But I had to, okay? So I had to. So just to let you know, in 15 minutes, I have an interview coming up with a Ukraine-Russian expert, Rebecca Koffler. So as soon as she comes on, we will be heading to that. So back to what I was saying. These executive orders and everything that they did with them, he knew where they were going to go. He knew the timing, he knew which one, when he was going to do it, and then he had to know the result. What if he knew that some of these executive orders weren't really that important to him? I know some of you guys are probably frowning at this point. What do you mean? Well, do you know how many plays in a game? How many strokes in a tennis match? How many different things you do in a competition that are just, they're throwaways. They mean nothing to you. They only are designed to see the opponent's reaction. Can I hit the backhand? Okay, he can hit the backhand. Can he hit the backhand slowly, or does he need to have speed on it? Can he put top spin when he returns? All the different things. If I throw this ball deep, I want to see, can the safety cover, and what does he do? Does he leave his butt open underneath? All kinds of things. Because this play is the one I want to succeed. Because if this one, based upon what I'm seeing on film, this is going to work. I can show you many times that there are films on coaches where they'll sit back and go, this is going to be it. And they know it's going to work because they've seen the reaction for something else they did. You'll hear it during a broadcast. Oh, no, they're going to bring that play back. Meaning they saw what happened. Now I can run it because I know what your reaction's going to be. So what I'm telling you, I don't hope I'm not losing you. What I'm telling you is there are things that President Trump has probably put out there that he knows aren't going to work. I don't know which ones those are. You may not know which one those are. But there's some of these that he designed, they're never gonna, it's not gonna work. They're gonna shoot this one down. Even the Supreme Court's gonna shoot it down. But what I need you to do is go complain to a judge. Because even though I don't want this, I'm seeing where you're headed. And that judge is going to expose themselves. And now I know everything about that judge. Because somebody asked a question earlier, but there's all kinds of judges. Yeah, but I need to know who they're going to go to. So here's an executive order that says we're going to change, I don't know, Monday to Tuesday. See what happens. Oh, that judge just turned it down? Okay, now I know. Now I know who you're going to. And so that's what's happening in my estimation right now. And at that point, you can begin seeing it. Yesterday, this was all about the Tanya Chutkan, who's been a problem on Trump for some time. More insane reasoning by Tanya Chutkan in halting the Trump EPA freeze billions of unaccountable tax dollars. So the EPA says, hey, we found $20 billion and we're going to have to freeze it. She's like, no, you got to keep paying it. This is what I'm sure he wants. He already knows about Tanya Chutkan. It was hidden at Citibank for free-range disbursement to politically connected climate nonprofits. Both Lee Zeldin and Trump opened investigations into the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, a $20 billion money laundering operation initiated by Biden. Despite the obvious corrupt nature of the arrangement, Chutkan says she sees nothing wrong. She demanded hard proof of evidence related to the investigations. I guess protected disclosures of ongoing investigations is the latest norm to be tossed by federal courts. That's what I said earlier. They are making decisions without having any evidence. You see, if I sue you, right now, any one of you, and your lawyer counters with some documentation, and we go before the judge is going to review the documents, and they're going to look at mine, they're going to look at yours, and they're going to say, here's my decision. What these judges are saying, I look at what you said, I look at what Trump said, but I want more evidence. But it's not your position, Judge. The opposing attorney presented you with the case. Here's their case. If their case sucks, you're supposed to throw it out. You're not supposed to ask me to substantiate what I've done. That needs to set in. People need to understand. These judges are like, oh, I know these plaintiffs don't know what the hell they're doing, so I'm going to do it for them. I need to look into, this, and this. You need to provide it for me so I can screw you. She just said it. She demanded hard proof of evidence related to the investigations. What? In the termination letters, EPA defendants vaguely reference multiple ongoing investigations into programmatic waste, fraud, and abuse, but offer no specific information about such investigations, factual support, or any individualized explanation for each of the claims. This is insufficient. EPA may terminate agreements for waste, fraud, or abuse, but this requires credible evidence of the commission of a violation of federal criminal law, blah, 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 Title 18. This isn't number one side. She's telling him, I need to see it. But you're asking for a TRO. How would a TRO, temporary restraining order, or the lack thereof, cause them irreparable harm? This is the Green New Deal thing. How is it causing anybody irreparable harm if their lawsuit goes to the appellate court? Well, I need to see. And if I see it, then I can tell. No! I'm telling you, these judges are trying to get inside the investigative info and demanding it through the use of their robes. Remember what Maxine Waters said, we don't know what they have on us. They don't know. These things will never stand up under appeal, so they're just trying to dig now. You've got the flimsiest of case. You can't substantiate what you've done, so you're like, can you give me more information? No, I don't have to. That's not what we're here for. And I think that's something, of course, the media doesn't tell you. But that's something you need to know. There's nothing here for these judges to be doing what they're doing. Oh, you got to put these transformers back in the military. And so we're giving you a temporary restraining order because you got... How is a temporary restraining order is to protect against irreparable harm? That's what you do it for. Judge, I can't do this because if I do it and I don't have any food, I could die. If I don't have this operation, if my insurance company dies, blah, 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 blah. I need... What's the TRO basis for not putting transformers in the military? Who is going to be irreparably harmed while the lawsuit continues? Remember, a TRO is merely a way station. It's on its way. The lawsuit can continue. I'm suing because I'm, Donna. I used to be Danny. I'm Donna now, and I want to go to the military. All right, well, you can sue the government. Go ahead, sue them. But I also want a TRO that makes them put me back in. Why? Because I'm Donna now. I should be like, okay, government, you are now restrained. You have to let Donna in. I hope I'm explaining it the best way possible. Donna, I'm not under any duress to the point where it's suffering irreparable harm. If I win my lawsuit, which may take a year, then I can go into the Army. That's what this TRO stuff is all about. They are not saying the government loses. None of them have said Trump loses. I want to make every single one of these things are declaring publicly that there is irreparable harm if the government does what it does.